I don't know if this will end up be where we finish off, and I know this is more out of the drama sector, but I do think it's worth covering here as we look at like some kind of OG hexagons that are likely whale status right now, and just kind of mixing it up a little bit on Twitter over the last week. You don't have to pull anything up for this because the first part is just kind of some stuff that I wrote down that I saw last week. And the only reason I bring it up is not to like get into like people arguing and stuff like that, but to get into like the validity of it and if the guy is serious, what it could mean for people. Because some people read certain things like this on Twitter and don't know how to take it and don't even know who Rock'em Rochelle is. You know what I mean? For example, or like some people that were kind of whales from the last bull run that, you know, maybe these people just got here via Pulse Chain, or maybe they were introduced to it by Tang Gang, or maybe they, you know, heard about the P-Dye thing somewhere and they're like, whoa, what is all this about? Or maybe they did hear about Hex, but they just got into it late or whatever. They're not aware of like some of these people from the first cycle. So obviously Rock'em has been kind of a controversial, I'll say, figure for some time. We just had RG3 on for a bit last week, and I know they're good friends, and Rock'em has talked about like, you know, what his expectations for the ecosystem is. We know that he's done, you know, very well in this ecosystem, and I'm sure other ventures in his life, obviously, too. But over this last week, it was interesting. So he's been like uber bull posting about incentive token, like since some of the inflation numbers have been slashed, and we've been seeing ink obviously climb up in price. But he started just like uber bull posting about all of a sudden, like, hey, I see incentive to over $200 and stuff like that. And inevitably, there are people, because what we're seeing here is like as ink was moving up and as everything was moving up, you just start to see big sells back down. And people have looked into like Rock'em's move on the blockchain before and like noticed big sells by him and stuff like that, which, you know, I mean, he's entitled to do. I mean, anybody is entitled to buy, sell, whatever they want, really. But the replies are just a bunch of people saying that he's drumming up exit liquidity by these tweets with these new crazy bull posts and stuff. And again, like I said, somewhat fair comments based on like some of the history and stuff like that. Where it kind of went sour, though, and I think there's probably two sides to this coin, but eventually in the replies, Rock'em was replying to a lot of the people saying that, like, yeah, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but like, I'll be dumping on your heads. Like, you're new at this game. I'm not. You're next. I'm going to dump on you, blah, blah, blah. Like, mixing it up with these people. I guess what I would ask to you, Ewok, because you have more of a frame of reference for the guy than I do, even if yours isn't huge. But I guess I'm just wondering, like, how serious do you take comments like that? And do you think, I mean, to me, it's a pretty bad look whether he's like kind of just messing around and maybe he's getting annoyed with the comments. So he's saying that as just his way of fighting back or whatever. I think it could be that he's just sick of it, but it also is kind of a bad look, I feel like, as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you make of that?
Well, so if people that have watched his wallet know that he's been dumping incentive for a long time. They've been providing liquidity and just dumping it. I think to the tune of $20 million has been bridged out of Ethereum or back onto Ethereum from the sale of incentive. Well, just recently when all the inflation got cut, they started buying. They started buying $2 or $3 million worth, or several $1 million worth of incentive, and then that's when he posted about how bullish he was on it. So again, guy is good at extracting value. They've extracted over $25 million from the chain, I believe. As Overwatch partners, you know, it's his company. That's where he got the first Lambo, I believe, was the riches from early HEX. It's fine, whatever. People will make money, and we can't stop them. You can't be mad at people for making money.
Right.
However, I don't like it when somebody with influence like that buys a bunch, and then, you know, they'll start tweeting it so that when they say, I see it going to 200, that probably means they're selling about halfway on that.
Right.
So about $100, they'll start dumping. So, you know, they have ulterior motives, and, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't mind people making money. I don't care what they do with their money. I just don't like to have people misled. with a top call like that, and then they exit halfway there. So it is what it is. And yes, I know there were some initial investors that were from the Middle East somewhere that got upset with the way Richard was acting with the
Yeah.
whole um, marketing techniques that he was using, and they got out. They pulled their money. So yeah, there's a big backstory. And then, recently I've heard that there was a private group that was on Telegram. All of that got shut down and said, you've got to apply now to be part of the cabal group or whatever.
I
We will
saw.
be interviewing people and making sure you're on the up and up. And we're going to teach you how to extract value and move this to another chain, because he doesn't like the way he's been attacked by people who don't like what he's doing. Whatever. I don't know how many people he'll take with him, but it is tough to see that. It's tough to see that their plan is to extract as much value, teach everybody else to extract as much value, and then leave town. Like,
I will say real quick, because that was the screenshot that was going around earlier, and part of it I think was real, but I don't think it's totally substantiated that that whole thing was legit. That
okay, fair
screenshot.
enough.
And I know you were just describing what you saw, and that's what I
Yeah.
saw too. But I don't know that the second part of it about like leaving the chain and all that stuff was legit. I think maybe the first part of it might have been, but
Okay.
I don't know that that whole thing's real. But regardless, we do know the guy has been like selling ink in
Yeah.
droves and stuff
Well,
like
yeah.
that.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
he's already extracted, I said, over $20 million from the chain to back over to Ethereum, somewhere back into stables or something. So we do know at least that much is true. Again, I don't know if any of what I saw was accurate or not, but I did see it. So, it didn't make me very happy.
yeah. No, I definitely understand that. And I get why newer people would be totally turned off by that and not understand it, because you have to everybody's on a different time frame,
Sure.
everybody's on a different ladder in terms of like where they're trying to get with their wealth and their savings and things like that. So you see somebody like him when Paulson hasn't even pumped yet, and obviously people are going to be upset by that. And I thought it was good that he came out and like addressed like some of the comments he had about RH when RH was doing like the outrage marketing on like different interviews and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, I just think maybe it's not the best for him to be like mixing it up in the comments and stuff. And again, maybe he was just pissed off at a lot of the people like taunting him that you're just looking
Yeah.
for exit liquidity, but it just doesn't really look very good, honestly. So
Well, and he's been a kind of a flip flopper.
yeah,
When he left, he was very angry. Then when he came back, he was very apologetic. Now he's
right,
getting very angry again.
yeah,
You know, I see a very unstable online presence, and
yeah,
some people just aren't cut out to do that, to be able to take it, whatever. I mean, obviously, if he's drawing that much attention, he's doing things that a lot of people don't like. So
right,
maybe you should limit your online presence. I mean, I get you want to have a voice. I get you want to pump your bags, so that if that is your intention is to exit, but you got to be prepared to deal with the consequences of being that type of person, and be able to handle it. Some people just aren't able to take any kind of criticism, and like I said, he's been very vocal about getting irritated with other community members. Seen
mhm,
that all along, but it's what it is, right? I mean, there are
yeah.
different personalities out there. Some people aren't equipped to handle it or to shut it off and not really care what people think.